Hello people, in this tutorial I'm going to have a quick look at using some of the MIDI effects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 4 MIDI tracks, okay? And so the shortcut is to create a MIDI track, and there's the shortcut there, Command-Shift-T. So that's what I will be using. And I will name them, okay? So I'm going to name them bass. It's Command-or Control-or to rename, and then I'm hitting Tab to go over to the next one. So it'll be bass, pads. I'll go a kind of a percussive type of thing, and I'll go a lead of some kind, okay? And then I'm just going to search for some instruments. I'm not going to overthink this because I want the video to go quite quick, so I'm going to search the instruments for a bass. Well, whatever. It might be a bit too bright. We'll search for a pad. Yeah, sure. I'll search for some kind of percussive thing, maybe like a mallet or a bell or, pitched percussion. Well, ambiento bell, that sounds good. And then I'll search for a lead. Well, we'll try it. And so now I have the 4 sounds. I have my bass on this channel. I have my pad on this channel. I have my percussion, a bell type thing, and my lead. Now, if I want to hear all 4 of them at the same time, you normally by default Ableton, if I click record ready on one channel, it knocks it off the other channel. But if you right click on any of the record arm buttons, you can turn off arm exclusive by unclicking it so it's not checked. And then I have to manually turn them on and off. And so I want to turn them all on at the same time to prove that if I press play now, I can hear them all at the same time. Excellent. So any note that I send to one will get sent to them all. Brilliant. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start messing with the MIDI effects. Now there are quite a few MIDI effects that you can find in the browser. There's velocity scale, random pitch, note length, MIDI effect rack, chord, and arpeggiator. I'm probably only going to mess with these 3 today, and I'll mess with these 3 next week. So pitch, chord, and arpeggiator. So on my bass, I want to arpeggiate the bass. So I'll hear it on its own. Now if I play it with the chord, it's too high for a bass, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a pitch effect as well just before it, and I'll use that to drop down all the notes. So excellent. And then I'll add the steps in, and we should get a classic kind of a, all right. Alright, we'll do that at 8th. And then we've got a pad. And so onto my pad, I'm going to put a chord effect. I guess I'll pick one from here. Let's try the ground control to minor tom. And we should hear the pad. And we can hear them together. Alright, that's fine for me. On our percussion, I'm going to go to the MIDI effect, and this time I'll take an arpeggiator. So it'll give us a little arpeggiator, but I think I'll also take a chorder, and I'll generate a chord. Just use the same chord, minor tim, and that should create an arpeggiated series of notes. Now it's in a reasonable pitch, but if I wanted, I could change the pitch by, raising it an octave, for example. But I think it's okay where it is. And we'll go on to our lead. And for our lead, what I'll do is I'll get an arpeggiator again. But this time I'll make the arpeggiator go 16th notes. It's finicky. So I'll make it go 16th notes, steps, 1, and I'll put in a chorder as well before it. Make it a minor, the same one, which is minor tim. And you may or may not need to use a note. I might have gotten away with it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try and lower it an octave. And now if I play them all together, we can hear a little all-togetherness. And you can hear that they're a bit loud, so I'll just select them all with the way that I selected them all is I select one, hold down shift, select the last one, selects them all, and then if I turn down any one of them, it'll turn them all down. It's a useful tool. So now I can play. And if I change the tempo, it should also change the... And then I'll just record a little part of it in. So to record across multiple channels at the same time, they're all record armed. This is a trick, guys. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, don't worry about it. They're all record armed at the same time. So we have circles up here in them all. I'll click the first one that I want to record in, and then I'll hold down shift, and I'll go to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. So they're all highlighted. So I'll do that again. They're all record armed. You see, it wouldn't work because that would be a square if it's not record armed. So it's all record armed. Pick one, hold down shift, move along like that. Or I think you can hold down command and you can just click the ones you want in or not. And then I'll hit return. We'll get a metronome count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to hit play now over here. Now I could have made that a little bit better for myself. So the way that I did it was I hit the play icon over here and it stopped them all recording and started them all into playback at the end of the bar. I'll just tidy it up a little bit by putting record quantize a 16th note quantization on, and that will mean that I can't go too far wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're recorded in. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to slow it down, guys. Is that okay? It's only MIDI, so. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and record it, because if I export this now, it'll only export as a, a whatever 4-bar loop, I think. I'm just going to tidy all these notes up. Actually, they're in the wrong place. So I'm just going to go in and tidy them all up. And the nice thing that I can do, to be honest with you, is I can just use the same one. I'll just tidy them all up individually, but it's the same notes that goes to them all, so in fact I don't really need to. Okay, let's look at our pad. So you tidied them up to the closest 16th note, which in this case wasn't the right 16th note, but it was the closest one to my play. My ham fist playing is wrong. This shouldn't make a huge difference, but whatever. It is what it is. Yep. 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 Fix this one. Let's have a listen. Okay, so I'm going to start recording it in now. So I'll press stop on the ones I don't want to hear. I'll bring the fader down and I'll slowly play it in. So let's hit record up here. And there it all is there, and it's all been recorded. Everything that I put in there was just recorded, you know. So there's my finished song. And we could go back and we could listen to it. We can see that it's fading in over time. There's automation recorded. We can see, I think I start playing the percussive one then next, is that right? And we should also see on the bass, I automated the frequency position as well. So there's my song. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export it and render it. So I'll put the left locator to the very left and the right locator. I usually leave it a little bit longer because there does tend to be a little tail, you know. Okay, so I leave it so there's a little tail. So there we go, that'll take care of the tail. And then I'll go File, Export Audio and Video. And it gives me some options. So it's telling me that it's going to export, it's going to start at bar 1 and render to bar 50. That's exactly what I want. At this rate, 44,100 is CD standard audio. 16-bit is CD standard audio. And whether it's going to make it as a WAV file, an AIFF or a FLAC, it's always WAV. You just leave that at WAV. Whether you want an MP3 as well, and whether you want to upload it to SoundCloud or not. I don't, but I do want a WAV and I do want an MP3. So I'll export it. It's going to ask me where I want to export it, so I'll go MIDI Effects and Rendering. I'll save it there. It's going to export it. It'll take it a couple of seconds to just convert it from an Ableton session into a WAV session or into a WAV file, audio file, and an MP3 file. Usually the MP3. The MP3s are exported by default at a constant bit rate of 320, which is pretty good kilobits. It's the highest form of MP3 you can get, really. And now it's just encoding the master. And there we go. Okay, the last thing I might like to do is I'm just going to save the session. So I'm going to save the live set, and I'm going to save it as this. I'll save over the track that I had done. Okay, and then I'll just I'll copy, collect all and save. Okay, and I'll also create an ALP out of it. So I'll manage the files, manage project. There are no files missing. I'll create the pack. It's going to ask me where I want to put it. I want to put it here, and I'm going to replace this. I'll call it Ableton Effects and Rendering. And so now it's going to create the ALP. So now I have the ALS saved. If we have a look in my folders, we'll see that I have the Ableton Live session is saved here. This is what I called it. I renamed it that. The audio files themselves are in tracks, I believe. which is here somewhere. Tracks. There we go. There's the WAV file. And there's the MP3 file. And we also have the ALP session that I could share online. So there's multiple versions of that. Okay guys, I hope there was quite a lot in that video, but you can pause the video, go back at your own leisure, and it is only an accompaniment or support to what we have already done in class. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope it was of some use. Bye now.